All right, good Thursday morning to all of you. It is 9 a.m. in the east, 6 out west. And in Chile, new fears for an already frazzled nation. It's a growing message from cash-strapped students. Stop the bleeding. Stop the cuts to education. Students across the country today are protesting higher tuition cuts in student services, crowded classes, and reductions in funding for higher education. This is Georgia, where the state's university system plans a 35% tuition hike and a possible $1,000 student fee. In Colorado, lawmakers are looking at cutting $1.3 billion from the budget, and higher education appears to be a key target. The movement to stop education cuts and tuition hikes came out of California. Fees at California's community colleges are up 30% this year, and $1 billion plus is being cut from the state's university system. An internet blog called Student Activism says 122 events in 33 states are planned for today's Day of Action. There's also the stress on teachers that worries a whole lot of people. Our Casey Wyan visited one elementary school in Southern California where the budget cuts are clearly visible, that is.
Here at Maywood Elementary School in Southern California, there is a growing problem, and it's about to walk through that door. It's not him or her or any of these students individually. It's just that there's too many of them in each classroom. And throughout California, budget cuts are forcing class sizes to increase dramatically.
Point to the table that is nice and neat.
Mrs. Cisneros used to have 20 students or fewer in her first grade classroom. State funding incentives kept kindergarten through third grade classes small. But California has suspended that program to save money. So this year, her class started with 27 students.
Guys, Melanie, what are you doing over there?
One of the biggest problems in my classroom right now is going to be the seating. You know, just finding a seating arrangement for all those children. Are you okay, Bailey? Yeah? Can you make a little bit of room for Bailey, please? All the work that 4 teachers would do, now 3 teachers do it, and that's been a challenge as well.
Pillow.
As you can see, there are no students in this classroom. That's because Maywood Elementary lost 5 teachers last year. It's now being used as a meeting room. Last year, the Los Angeles Unified School District sent out 8,000 layoff notices to teachers and other employees. About 2,000 actually ended up losing their jobs. This year, more than 5,000 additional layoff notices are going out. And by the end of next year, the district will have cut more than $2 billion from its annual budget.
We do spend a lot of money out of our own pockets. Sometimes the trip to the teacher's store is $60 to $100. For example, those books, I've purchased them all.
Lupe Hernandez is Maywood's principal. She's presided over 4 years of rising test scores, and she knows some of her best teachers will get pink slips. What has this done to morale for teachers and other staff members here at the school?
You know, our teachers really work hard because we have had such great success. It's hard for them. They're staying here longer. They're in fear of what's next.
Educating a room full of 6 and 7-year-olds while keeping them safe is not a job for those distracted by the threat of losing their jobs.
It's just too many students that will be without an efficient teacher because you're stressed. You're thinking of your bills that you have to pay. You're thinking of your mortgage. You're thinking of your own family. It's very hard for all the children to learn when you have a stressed teacher.
Teacher, is it my correct?
Casey Wyan, CNN, Maywood, California.
So let's talk more now about the protests and the rising costs of higher education. I'm joined by Honora Keller, a so-called super senior, a 5th-year student at San Francisco State University. She's in San Francisco, of course. And in Sacramento, Professor Lillian Tays, president of the California Faculty Association. Thanks so much, ladies, for joining us. Honora, let me begin. Honora, let me begin with you. Do you plan to join the protesters, the student protesters today?
Definitely, I'll be there.
Okay, well, what's your biggest beef here? How are these increases in tuition impacting you directly?
I've had a lot of struggles paying for school. I have 3 jobs, and I'm a full-time student, and I work over full-time with those 3 jobs added together. And I definitely feel the fee increases when they affect me directly.
Does it worry you that you'd be able to finish that last year?
it's been a constant worry. I just applied for graduation, and the stress of trying to finish up with this 5th year instead of my 4th year was always in the back of my mind. So last semester I was visiting every counselor, making sure I was on track, and hoping and taking more than full-time units to try and get out in this 5th year.
So Lillian, you know, clearly a lot of stress on the students, but stress on the professors as well?
Absolutely.
In what way?
Well, you can imagine walking to a classroom where not all the students have seats. Students are sitting on the floor. Your class maybe has now 49 students and 49 people on the waiting list. So the pressure is enormous. We're trying to do the best job we can, the job we used to do when there was more funding in the system. So we're doing so much more with so much less, and it really isn't good for anyone, not the students, not the faculty, not the staff.
So can the state education system do without a rate increase like this? Can it still be operational if the increment were about a lot smaller?
Well, the issue is really is the state going to continue to contribute to its system of public education? What's happening is a lot of the cost of educating the students in California is being shifted over to the students themselves. The amount of money that the state has invested in this system has declined dramatically over the years, and that's really the problem here. We have not continued to invest in public higher education that benefits all of us, not just individuals, but all of us in the state.
Well, how much do you worry with this kind of rate increase, tuition increase, that simply it's going to turn off a lot of students who simply can't get an education? So an awful lot of students are going to be left out, period.
Well, you're absolutely right. Not only many are being turned away because they simply can't afford to go, but in addition to that, the system itself, because it doesn't have enough resources, is turning away 40,000, this is just in the California State University system, turning away 40,000 qualified students. This is not good for the state and doesn't bode well for the future.
Lillian Tays and Honora Keller, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And later, we'll compare California's education troubles to the rest of the nation with a member of our fact check team. That's coming your way at 10:30 Eastern Time this morning. All right, CNN correspondents plan to cover this day of action in California. Casey Wyan is at UCLA in Los Angeles. Ted Rowlands is in downtown LA for a rally scheduled for this evening. And in San Francisco, Dan Simon will cover protests at San Francisco State. Let's talk about overhauling the healthcare system up next. Emotions running high and time is simply running out.